The second she said it, my chest went cold. We were sitting out on the back deck of her parents' lake cabin in Wisconsin. Her whole family was there, grilling, drinking, swapping road trip stories. Her uncle and I had just finished talking about RVs and cross-country routes, and I was laughing about how I'd probably end up retiring in a van someday. I guess we looked too comfortable. That's when her cousin, Jamie, piped up from across the table. "So, after almost 6 years, are you two finally getting hitched or what?" It got quiet for a second. Just a little. Then my girlfriend, Lauren, smiled, tilted her beer bottle toward Jamie, and said loud enough for everyone to hear, "I can't imagine being stuck with him forever." Everyone laughed. Of course they did. The tone was right, sarcastic, teasing. But I didn't laugh. I just stared at her. She didn't even glance at me, just kept sipping her drink, grinning like she nailed the punchline. So I said, calm as hell, "Same. That's why I'm leaving after this weekend." The silence hit like a dropped plate. Jamie stopped mid-sip. Her uncle blinked, confused. Her dad looked like someone had smacked him in the face with a frozen fish. Lauren turned to me, half laughing. "Wait. What? Babe, I was joking." I pushed back my chair. "Yeah, I'm not. Come on," she said, trying to chuckle, waving her hand toward the table like I was just being dramatic. "You seriously can't be mad about that. It was obviously a joke." "Nope." I stood up. "It was obvious. That's why I'm done." Her mom tried to change the subject, saying something about burgers. Her younger cousin awkwardly picked up the ketchup bottle and started drowning her hot dog like maybe that would make her disappear. Lauren followed me inside, fake smiling for the table like we were about to have a normal little couples chat and come back hand in hand. I didn't follow her script. I walked straight past the kitchen and down the hallway, grabbed my duffel from the guest room, and tossed it onto the bed. I didn't pack yet. I wasn't leaving early, but I wanted it ready. When I walked back into the living room, she was standing there with her arms crossed. "We're seriously doing this? Over one dumb joke?" I nodded once. "Yup." Then I stepped past her and went outside to grab another beer. I popped the cap off my beer and leaned against the deck railing. The air smelled like pine and burnt charcoal. I could feel the whole table watching me through the windows. Lauren stepped outside a second later, voice low but tense. "Seriously, can we just talk about this?" "We're already talking," I said, not looking at her. Everyone heard it. She moved closer like being sweet would undo it. "Babe, I was joking. It was just sarcasm. That's how my family talks. You know that." I turned to face her. "Cool. But I'm done pretending this is working. You've been dropping little bombs for months. That one just happened to go off in public." Her dad stood up from the table and walked over, holding a half-empty beer. "Hey now, let's all just calm down. People say dumb things. No reason to blow up the weekend over a bad joke." I nodded. "Right, except it's not just one thing. She's been saying this crap for a while. You remember last month? At your housewarming." Her dad's brow creased. "She told your neighbor I was dragging her down because I haven't leveled up in my career. And the week before that, when she told her sister our relationship felt like a dead end." Lauren's face went stiff. "You're twisting things." "No, I'm quoting you." Her brother, Chris, stood up halfway from his seat at the table. "Wait, what? You said that?" She shot him a look. "It wasn't like that." Chris stepped down onto the grass and crossed his arms. "Lauren, come on. That's not okay. You used to talk about how lucky you were to have him. Now it's like, I don't know, since you got that new position, you're different." Lauren snapped. "So I can't be proud of getting promoted?" "That's not what I said." He looked at me, then back at her. "But don't act like he didn't have your back before all this." I locked eyes with her. "You remember when your card kept declining at Aldi? I covered your groceries for months. When your car died, I spent $3,000 buying you that used Civic. You cried when I handed you the keys. Said you'd never forget it." She looked away. "I didn't ask you to." "No," I cut in. "But you sure leaned on it. And now you roll your eyes when I bring up money. Like I'm some loser because I still work with my hands while you're out at power lunches in Chicago." Her dad raised both hands. All right, we're not doing this here. Not at the damn lake. I stepped back. You think I wanted this here? I came out to relax. She's the one who pulled the pin on the grenade. Jamie, the cousin who started this whole thing, stood up slowly. I didn't know it was this serious. I was just messing around. I nodded. Yeah, I thought we were solid. Until her jokes stopped being funny. Lauren's voice cracked. I didn't mean it like that. I swear. I was just being sarcastic. I looked her dead in the face. You weren't being sarcastic when you told your coworker last week that I'm too comfortable being average. You weren't joking when you said we'd probably be divorced if we got married. Chris blinked. You said that. She looked like a deer in headlights. Okay. I was venting. I didn't mean it literally. I stared at her for a beat. You said what you meant. You've been saying it for months. I just finally listened. Jamie looked between us like she was watching a car crash. Wow, I thought you guys were like couple goals. Her dad sighed and rubbed his forehead. All right, let's all just cool off. Lauren, maybe go take a walk or something. Lauren threw her hands up. So now it's me who needs to leave? No, I said, stepping down the stairs. I'm leaving, just not tonight. Her mom called from the deck. Can we please just eat like normal people? No one answered her. The grill was cold. The food forgotten. I walked around to the side of the house where the firewood was stacked, sat down on a log, and cracked the beer open. I could hear them talking inside, muffled and fast. But I didn't care. A second later, the sliding door slammed open behind me. The sliding door slammed open behind me. I didn't move. Lauren stomped down the steps, jaw clenched, eyes blazing. You done playing victim out here? I stayed seated. You done pretending you respect me? She crossed her arms, standing right in front of me. This is so out of line. You're blowing everything out of proportion in front of my whole family. You could have just pulled me aside. Talk to me like an adult. I looked up at her. I tried talking. For months. You rolled your eyes and called me sensitive. Now I'm done trying. Her mom appeared at the edge of the deck, arms tucked across her chest like she was cold. Sweetheart, maybe now isn't the time to dig into all this. You two just need to take a breather. No, I said, standing up. Now's exactly the time. Everyone heard the joke. They deserve to hear the rest. Lauren scoffed. Oh, what? You're gonna air out every argument we've ever had now? Not everyone, I said. Just the ones where I was paying your rent, covering your car insurance, keeping the lights on while you were unemployed for over a year and still acting like I was the problem. She flinched like I slapped her. You said you wanted to help. You offered. I did. Because I loved you. And you said you were grateful. Until you got that promotion and suddenly I was just holding you back. Jamie had wandered over by then, awkward as hell. She stopped at the edge of the porch steps, looking between us. I looked right at her. She told her coworker last month that she wished she were single, said she wanted to focus on herself, fully, without a relationship dragging her down. Jamie's jaw dropped. Wait, what? Lauren's eyes went wide. You're spying on me now? Nope, I said. Her coworker told my friend. He didn't know we were still together because she talks like she's single half the time. Posts like it too. Jamie blinked. We had no idea it was like that. I nodded once. Neither did I. Until it was too late. Her mom stepped down a couple stairs. Okay. I think that's enough, don't you? Let's not turn this into a war. I kept my voice calm. You raised a daughter who's been trashing me for months. Everyone thinks it's just cute sarcasm. But she's been showing you exactly how she feels. Every time she rolls her eyes when I talk, every time she cuts me off, every time she jokes that I peaked in high school. Lauren exploded. You're twisting everything I say into some kind of attack. God, you are so controlling. I stared at her. That's what you call me when I hold you accountable. She blinked hard, furious and cornered. You're being dramatic. This is why I joke about being stuck. You act like I'm a criminal just because I don't worship you. I held my ground. You don't have to worship me. But you damn sure don't get to treat me like I'm disposable. I was there when no one else was. I carried us when you couldn't. And you didn't just forget that. You started resenting it. Chris had come around the corner now too. He looked pissed. Lauren, he's not wrong. She spun on him. Seriously? You're taking his side now. I'm not taking sides, he said. I'm just saying, this doesn't sound like the you I remember. She stormed up the steps, stopped halfway, and turned around. You're all against me now. Great. Love that. I finished the last of my beer and tossed the bottle into the recycling bin by the grill. The clink rang out louder than it should have. Her mom glanced between all of us, then turned and walked back inside like she'd had enough. Chris shook his head and followed her. Jamie stayed frozen, biting her thumbnail. You know, you guys always seemed solid. 6 years? I thought you were the one planning the proposal. I gave a small nod. I was. Until I realized I was the only one planning anything. Lauren was still on the steps, hugging herself like the wind suddenly got colder. You really hate me that much now? I sighed. I don't hate you. I just finally see you. Then I walked back around to the side of the cabin, hands in my pockets, and left her standing there with all the noise of her silence. When the shouting finally died down outside, I went back in through the kitchen door. The place smelled like cold food and burnt charcoal. Everyone else had scattered. Some upstairs, some out walking, anywhere but near us. Lauren was waiting by the counter, arms crossed, eyes red. You really had to humiliate me in front of my entire family? I didn't answer right away. I just pulled out my phone and set it on the counter between us. I didn't humiliate you. I just stopped covering for you. She scoffed. Oh, please. What does that even mean? I unlocked the phone, scrolled for a second, then turned the screen toward her. It means I started keeping track. Every time you cut me down, every time you called me lazy, every time you said something like, God, I can't believe I settled this early. Her face froze. You're keeping a list? You're literally writing down what I say? That's insane. No, I said flatly. That's listening. Something I should have been doing sooner. She grabbed the phone, skimmed it, then slammed it down. This is twisted, Adam. You're spying on me like I'm some kind of criminal. Spying? I laughed once, sharp and short. You said this stuff to my face. Half of it in front of other people. I just finally started paying attention instead of pretending it didn't hurt. She looked down, shaking her head fast. I was stressed, okay? Work's been killing me. The hours, the pressure. It makes me say things I don't mean. You mean like how you work late every Thursday with your single friends at the ledge? I said. She blinked. What? You told me those nights were client meetings, but the bar receipts in your purse said otherwise. And that selfie you posted with your friends. Yeah, it had the same night stamp. Her mouth opened, but nothing came out. I didn't raise my voice. You've been lying about your schedule for months. I already talked to a lawyer. That landed. Her face drained of color. A lawyer? For what? You can't be serious. I am. We share a lease, joint bills, a car in my name. I'm not getting stuck cleaning up the mess you're about to make. Her panic came fast. She stepped closer, reaching for my hand. Adam, stop. Please. You're overreacting. We can fix this. I'll change, I swear. I just got caught up in everything. Work, expectations. I pulled my hand back. You already had 100 chances to change. You didn't want to. You just wanted me to stay quiet while you trashed me. Her breathing picked up, sharp and uneven. You planned this, didn't you? You waited for my family to be here so you could ambush me. No, I said. I didn't ambush anyone. I just stopped protecting you from the truth. She started pacing, mumbling to herself. You're trying to make me look like a monster. That's what this is about. You want to play the victim. Monsters don't need help looking like monsters, I said. They just keep talking. Her voice cracked. You don't mean that. I looked at her, really looked at her, and realized how tired I was. Yeah, I do. She tried one last swing. After everything I did for you, you'd really walk away like this? I let out a dry laugh. You mean after everything I did for you? Yeah. I would. She covered her face with her hands, her shoulders shaking. I didn't move. I didn't touch her. I'd done enough of that. Soothing, explaining, forgiving. When she finally looked up again, her voice was almost a whisper. So what now? Now? I said, grabbing my duffel from the chair. I finish my beer, sleep, and leave in the morning. I walked out before she could answer, the sound of her crying following me down the hallway. The next morning, I left early. Didn't say goodbye. Didn't look back. By noon, my phone started lighting up. First it was my sister, texting, what the hell did Lauren just call me about? Then one of our old mutual friends, Trina, messaged asking if I'd really been emotionally abusive and manipulative for years. An hour later, I got a missed call from my old boss at the hardware store. He left a voicemail saying Lauren had reached out, claiming I was mentally unstable and might try to retaliate. I just sat there on my couch in total silence, the phone buzzing every couple minutes like it was on fire. She was spiraling, calling anyone who'd pick up, but it wasn't working like she thought it would. Trina followed up with, honestly, it didn't sound right. I remember when you worked doubles to help her cover that car. She made you out like you were obsessed with her. We all saw how loyal you were. Even my sister, who never liked Lauren much, wrote back, don't worry. I told her to lose my number. By that evening, I was finally getting some air on my porch when my phone rang again. It was her uncle, Dave, the one I'd been talking road trips with before everything blew up. Hey, he said, voice low and serious. I just wanted to say I'm sorry, man. For real. We missed the signs. I thought it was just playful teasing. I didn't know it was that deep. I took a long breath. Yeah, I didn't either. Not until I started listening to the stuff she'd say when no one else was around. Dave paused. I don't think she even realizes how much she changed. A couple years ago, she was bragging to the family about how you were her rock. Now it's like, she talks about you like you're dead weight. That hit. That's what it felt like near the end. She used to brag about me, how I supported her through the worst, how I stuck by her when she didn't know what she was doing with her life. Back when we were scraping by in our first apartment and eating frozen pizza 3 nights a week, she used to say, I don't know how I got this lucky. Then slowly, over time, I went from being the rock to being the anchor. She didn't want steady anymore. She wanted status. Around 9 that night, she called. I let it go to voicemail. She called again, then again. Finally, I picked up. Her voice was tight. Can you explain why my parents are mad at me right now? They think I screwed everything up. I didn't say anything. Just let the silence stretch. She kept going. They said they're embarrassed, that I humiliated you, that you were the best thing that ever happened to me. I sat back in my chair. Sounds like they finally saw it for what it is. This isn't fair, she snapped. You've twisted everything and now people are taking your side. You're changing the whole narrative. I let out a dry breath. There's no narrative. There's just what actually happened. People are just finally seeing it. She went quiet. For once, nothing to throw back. I didn't need to scream. I didn't need to argue. I just hung up. I hung up, set the phone face down, and booked the meeting with my lawyer. The next morning, I was sitting across from her in a small office near downtown Joliet. She had a yellow legal pad open, a laptop glowing beside it, and a thick file already halfway full. I've been collecting everything you've sent, she said, flipping to the next page. Rent receipts, your name on the lease, utility bills, car title, joint bank statements or lack of them, really. I nodded. We split groceries maybe, but anything real? I covered it. She tilted the laptop so I could see the screen. I also saved those text threads. The ones where she says things like, I'm not your dependent, after you asked her to pay half the internet. I leaned back. I'm not trying to bury her. I just want what's fair. She can keep the apartment, I just want out. Clean and done. The lawyer nodded. That's what we're aiming for. By lunchtime the next day, Lauren had been served. I expected a blow-up. What I didn't expect was the crying voicemail first. She sounded like a completely different person. sniffling, whispering, begging me to call her back. 2 hours later, she finally called again and I picked up. "You're actually taking me to court?" she said, her voice shaky. "Are you kidding me?" "No," I said. "You knew this was coming. I didn't think you'd actually go through with it. What is this, revenge? Is that what this is?" "I'm not interested in revenge, Lauren. I'm interested in being done." She went quiet, then her voice dropped. "You know I could go after half, right? Technically, we've been together long enough. I could get an attorney and push for that." I didn't even blink. "You can try, but I've got 6 years of receipts that say otherwise. My name's on every payment. Yours is on almost none." There was a long pause. Then, "You're unbelievable." "No, I'm just not scared of you anymore." She switched tones again, just like that. "We don't have to do this. We can sit down, just the two of us. Figure it out like adults. I'll pay more going forward, I swear." "You've been swearing things for years," I said. "I'm just finally holding you to them. Come on, Adam." Her voice cracked again. "I was just trying to get my footing with work. You know how stressed I've been." I stood up, walked over to the sink, phone still pressed to my ear. "Yeah, and I carried you through it. But the second you found yours, you dropped me like dead weight." She was crying again. "So that's it? You're just done." "I've been done," I said. "You're just now realizing it." She started to say something else, but I didn't wait. I ended the call, dropped my phone on the counter, and poured myself a glass of water. No shaking hands, no racing heart, just quiet. 2 weeks later, we sat across from each other in a bland beige conference room with too much air conditioning and not enough soul. She came in dressed like she was heading to court on TV. Full power suit, sleek bun, even heels she never used to wear. Her lawyer looked like he charged $1,000 an hour just to breathe. Mine sat beside me, calm, collected, flipping through a thick folder. I wasn't nervous. I'd already lived through the hard part. This was just the paperwork. Her lawyer opened first, voice smooth and smug. "Given the duration of the relationship and cohabitation, our position is that an even split of all shared assets is the reasonable course." I didn't even flinch. My lawyer flipped a page and slid it forward. "Mr. Last Name has documentation showing disproportionate financial contributions over the past 5.5 years. We're prepared to itemize every rent payment, utility bill, vehicle purchase, and bank transfer." He pulled out a stapled packet and slid it across the table. "Breakdowns in there." The guy skimmed it, expression tightening. Lauren didn't even look at the papers. She just stared at me like I was the one being unreasonable. Her lawyer cleared his throat. "There are also non-financial considerations, emotional labor, time invested, shared planning." That's when she finally spoke up. "I contributed in other ways. I supported him emotionally. I sacrificed for his comfort. This wasn't one-sided." I looked her dead in the eye. "You called me a dead end in front of your sister. You told your co-workers you wished you were single. You mocked my job, my ambition, and the way I dressed. Repeatedly, in front of your friends and mine." Her lawyer raised a hand, like that somehow made my words disappear. My lawyer didn't blink. "Emotional contribution can be considered, but so can emotional damage. We're prepared to submit testimonial statements from multiple witnesses about the verbal degradation and public belittling Mr. Last Name endured." Her side went quiet. Lauren shifted in her seat, arms crossing tight. Her lawyer finally exhaled. "We'd like to request a short recess." They left the room. I didn't say anything. Neither did my lawyer. We just sat there with the hum of the AC and the sound of my pen clicking between my fingers. 10 minutes later, they came back in. The lawyer had softened. "We're open to discussion," he said. My lawyer nodded. "We're listening." It didn't take long after that. She could keep the car, it was already in her name. She could keep the apartment, too. But she'd buy out my share of the deposit, and the remaining months on the lease would be her responsibility, not mine. No future entanglements. No open accounts. Clean break. She didn't look at me when she signed. As we stood up to leave, her lawyer said, "It's rare we get through this in one session. My lawyer just smiled. Helps when one side comes prepared. We stepped into the hallway. I didn't look back. I was on my lunch break, back by the loading dock behind the shop, when I saw her. She was standing by the employee entrance like she belonged there. Same leather boots I bought her last Christmas. That green sweater she used to wear when things were still good between us. The one she once said made her feel safe. It was almost pathetic how obvious she made it. I wiped my hands on a towel and stepped out from the bay. You shouldn't be here. She looked up, eyes watery, smile forced. I just wanted to talk. That's all. No lawyers, no paperwork. Nothing to fight over anymore. So what's left to say? She took a small step forward. I've been thinking a lot. About everything. About us. I leaned back against the wall, arms crossed. Took you long enough. I miss you. Her voice cracked. I miss our routines. I miss hearing your car in the driveway. I miss falling asleep next to you. You miss the safety net, I said. Not me. That's not true, she snapped. I've changed. I've been doing therapy. I'm working less. I cut her off. You had all the chances in the world to change. I begged for it. Talked to you calmly. Asked you what you needed. You shrugged. Mocked me. Lied to my face. Then blamed me for leaving like I hadn't been waiting for you to wake up. She looked like she was about to say something, but I didn't stop. You want a second chance now? After all the disrespect, the jokes at my expense, the months you spent acting like I was dragging you down. She stepped back a little. I didn't mean to push you away. You didn't mean to, but you did. Repeatedly. She wiped at her eyes with her sleeve. You gave up. That's the truth. I shook my head. No. You gave up first, I just finally caught up. You stopped choosing me a long time ago. I just stopped pretending it didn't matter. She stared down at her boots, blinking fast. We were happy once. Yeah, I said. We were. Back when we were on the same team. Back when you used to say thank you instead of acting like I owed you. Back when we fought with each other, not against each other. She looked up. So that's it? You're done forever. You changed the rules, Lauren. You moved the goalposts every time I got close. There's nothing left to chase. She looked so small then. Not the woman in charge. Not the one with the sharp tone and sharper outfits. Just the person I used to care about before she made it clear I didn't matter anymore. I thought you were gonna be the one, she whispered. I was, I said. You just stopped treating me like it. She turned without another word, walked to her car, and pulled away. I watched her taillights disappear, then checked the time and went back inside. I felt nothing but relief. A few months later, my phone rang while I was watching a game at home. Unknown number. I almost didn't pick up. Adam, it was her mom. I sat up straighter. Yeah. I know I'm probably the last person you expected to hear from, she said, voice soft. I've been meaning to call. I owe you an apology. I didn't say anything. Just let her talk. We enabled her for too long. The sarcasm, the entitlement, the way she always got the last word. We all brushed it off because it was easier than confronting it. You took more than you should have, and I see that now. I finally spoke. Took me too long to see it myself. She's struggling, she added. And I don't mean to guilt you. I just wanted you to know some of us are starting to understand what you were dealing with. I let out a slow breath. Appreciate the call. Really. She didn't push for anything else. Just a quiet take care. And hung up. I didn't think much about it after that. Until I ran into Lauren at the grocery store 2 weeks later. I was walking through the produce aisle, grabbing a few apples, when I heard, "Hey!" I turned around and saw her by the bananas, holding a half-empty basket and looking older. Not in a dramatic way, just tired. Pale. Makeup half done. Hair in a messy bun that didn't look intentional. "Hey!" I said back. She gave a small smile. "Didn't expect to see you here. I live 10 minutes away. Not that surprising." She laughed, weakly. Right? I guess I just didn't think you'd shop here anymore. We stood there for a second, surrounded by families and carts squeaking past. "You look good," she said, eyes scanning me a little too long. Thanks. She hesitated. Are you with someone? I nodded. Yeah. Someone grateful. That cracked something. Her shoulders dropped a little. Of course you are. She looked down, fiddled with the stem of an apple like it had answers. Then she blinked a few times fast and looked back up. Her voice shook. Do you ever think, if we'd done things differently, maybe it could have worked? I didn't answer right away. I looked her in the eyes. She was already tearing up. I think it could have, I said, honest. But we didn't. And you can't undo that now. She bit her lip, fighting the emotions. I didn't mean to take you for granted. But you did. She nodded quickly, trying to swallow it down. I know. I didn't see it until it was too late. I was so focused on trying to get ahead. I treated you like a step instead of a partner. I didn't soften. I didn't need to. I just said the truth. You didn't lose me, Lauren. You gave me away. One insult at a time. That broke her. She covered her mouth with one hand and started crying, shoulders shaking. A woman nearby gave us a look before pushing her cart the other way. I didn't reach for her. Didn't comfort her. That part of me was closed off now. I'm sorry, she said between breaths. I'm so sorry. I nodded once. I know. She wiped her eyes, turned, and walked out without finishing her shopping. I stood there for a second, then grabbed my apples, moved down the aisle and kept going. No anger, no regret, just peace. I loaded the groceries into my truck, climbed in, and called her. Hey babe, she answered, light and warm. Just left the store. You need anything? She paused a second. Just surprise me. I trust your judgment. That one line hit harder than it should have. Not because of what she said, but how easy it was to believe her. I grabbed a bottle of her favorite Pinot, some dark chocolate almonds, and fresh basil. She liked putting it in everything. Back at her place, we cooked together, me on the chicken, her handling the sides. She moved around the kitchen with bare feet and a messy braid, humming to some playlist she'd thrown on without thinking twice. While I was chopping, she slid next to me and bumped her hip against mine. Thanks again for fixing that leak under the sink. And the meal prep containers? Total lifesaver. I shrugged. It wasn't a big deal. She looked up at me. It was to me. Later, we sat down on the couch with full plates and full stomachs. She leaned into me like it was the most natural thing in the world. No performance. No one keeping score. For the first time in years, I didn't feel like I had to brace for some backhanded comment. No sarcasm hiding behind a smile. No tension under every word. Just peace. I wasn't being tolerated. I was being appreciated. Seen for who I was. Not for how much I made, not for how much I could carry, but just for showing up. For being solid. Some people choose gratitude. Some choose entitlement. I finally chose to stop accepting the wrong one.